Welcome to NewsMakers. I'm Mike Briggs. We come to you every day at this time, Wednesdays at 3, and we repeat a few times throughout the week. And if you missed the live broadcast, we meet people who are making the news. In a few minutes, we're going to have congressional candidate David Gillia on, and we're going to talk to him about his race. Over the next few days, we're going to have people running for mayor, for governor, for Congress, for all kinds of offices, city council. We're going to have a lot of guests from the news. Now, one person, our old friend Ed Crane, made the news this week. You probably saw the article in the Fresno Bee. He wrote the article, in fact. Ed Crane making the news. That's why he's on NewsMakers. And Ed, it is International Assistance Dog Week.
Correct.
And yes. Do we have a shot of your assistance dog? I don't know if we do or not. He's a moving target sometimes. Tell me the name of your dog.
Zern, he's right here in front of me.
There he is.
Keeping track of me. Zern is my seizure alert dog who is with me 24 hours a day and always paying attention to me and letting me know if I have an oncoming seizure, and at the same time keeping track to make sure that I'm functioning properly without any worries.
Yeah. Now, Zern is never the center of attention, but today we got him on camera. So.
Yeah, fantastic shot of him too.
Yeah. Now, assistance dog, there's a whole bunch of different types, I would imagine, for different uses or needs.
We've got assistance dogs are classified as either in the class of, and I've got the terminology here, guiding eye dogs, hearing dogs, or service dogs. Right. And Zern falls under that terminology as a service dog. Right. That helps somebody with a disability that does not fall under one of the other two categories. Okay. And that, of course, is a full spectrum of disabilities. Okay, for me, it's epilepsy and seizures, and I also have diabetes, so he helps me along the way there. But service dogs can be helping somebody with muscular dystrophy, or multiple sclerosis, or any one of a full range of disabilities along the way.
Now, I see, I bring this up every once in a while when you're on, but I see people out there with their dogs all over, for example, all over the Tower District. They're the most ill-behaved, jumping on people, pulling their master along. It's amazing that a dog can be trained to do something like this.
Well, these dogs come from a full spectrum of organizations here in the United States or around the world. And almost all of them breed their own dogs. And from that aspect, what they do is they start training them the moment the dogs come into this world. Okay, so for even the first 6 months, there is training that goes on. And, with the organization that I belong to, Canine Partners for Life, there's basic training that begins very early in their lifetime. And then right after that, the dogs from 6 months for the next year go out and are adopted by families that Canine Partners sends them to. And there's just a spectrum of tasks that they're taught at that point before they come back for the next year and a half along the way, where Canine Partners teaches them all of the tasks that they're going to have to learn to be able to fulfill everything they need to when they're partnered with an individual who has a disability.
Yeah. And the point I'm trying to stretch it to is you see these people out there with these unruly and ill-behaved dogs. Dogs are really, really smart.
Their intelligence. I mean, to be honest with you, I've had 3 dogs now myself from Canine Partners over the past 18 years. Before that, I had Labrador Retrievers twice in my lifetime, and I thought, I was doing proper training with them, and I didn't. Zern was taught from early puppyhood never to bark. He's a silent dog, okay? And he always pays attention. Now, without direction from me, he will lay here silent and not move the entire time we're talking and discussing. That's the type of training he has. Whereas most dogs, which are pets, just are not task trained like that.
They're not trained. Yeah. Now, Zern knows through think you said the sense of smell that you are going to have an epileptic seizure
Yeah.
before you know.
Correct.
Way before you know.
There are a number of illnesses that are trained that way. There's epilepsy, there's diabetes, there's a couple of them where they can scent, through their ability to smell, they can warn somebody of an oncoming disability. For example, I provided Canine Partners a shirt. It was an undershirt that I was wearing when I had a series of seizures, and I wrapped it a number of times, 6 or 7 different plastic bags, and I sent it across the country, and they trained him for 6 months.
Wow.
With that one shirt, so that now he has the ability to scent and sense my oncoming seizures before I can even feel them. You know, I can normally feel a seizure just sometimes a minute or two before I get a foul taste in my mouth or a feeling from my brain of it coming on. Sometimes it's a minute or two before, sometimes it's only seconds, whereas all of a sudden he's been trained to come over and rub his head on my knees. The only time he ever does that is to warn me in advance, and that could be up to 20 minutes in advance. And I know then to lay on the floor, and if I don't lay down,
you don't fall, you don't hurt yourself.
if I don't lay down quick enough, the next thing he'll do is he'll start to bump me, saying, "Ed, lay down." And then once I lay down, he's then trained to lay across my legs, and he won't let me get up. He knows, again, through his sense of smell, when the series of seizures is over. And then he will get off me, and he'll come over and lick me on the side of the cheek, telling me it's over, and he'll help me get up, because when a seizure episode is over, I can't automatically get up quickly. I have to get up in stages.
So not only was he trained for that a long time ago, he remembers that long, and he still remembers what to do and does it effectively. So these dogs are smart.
And I've had an instance already, and I've had that happen with, so far, each of the dogs I've had, where all of a sudden we've been walking out in the public, and he's pulled me to somebody else, a stranger, and he's given a similar warning to all of a sudden a stranger. And I've had to be very careful and normally talk to an adult there and said, "Hey, this is my service dog who has the ability to warn of a seizure," and had to ask the person, "Does somebody have epilepsy?" And in those instances, the individual said yes. And I said, "I have a funny feeling that he's warning of a seizure. Could you please have so-and-so either sit down or lay down?" And it was an ability to have a similar scent that I have, and the warning was accurate.
Wow. Now, it is International Assistance Dog Week. What do you want to accomplish during this week? You want people to know what's going on? You want people to get involved?
Well, you know, the basic entity that we're trying to accomplish is to educate people about assistance dogs. You know, what we want to do is get the word out, not only about a dog such as Zern. I want people to understand about seeing eye dogs or dogs that assist people who have hearing impairment. I want to acknowledge all assistance dogs, number one. I number one, want to be able to thank these dogs for the wonderful work they do. Number two, it's important to recognize and honor the organizations that raise and train them. And at the same time, there are individuals out there who raise and train their own assistance dogs. I want to acknowledge them too, because what they do is important, okay? And the third thing we try to accomplish during this special week is there are a handful of assistance dogs that pull accurate and incredible lines of safety that are miracles. That all of a sudden you'll read that an assistance dog went into a dangerous situation and saved somebody's life. those are situations that are recognized during this special week too.
Okay.
So what we're trying to do is educate people this week about what these amazing dogs can do. And one of the things we hope to be able to do is educate people. Educate people about what these animals can do, because there are a lot of people out there that hopefully are not aware of this. I wasn't aware of it 18 years ago. Somebody led me to this 18 years ago, and then I wound up contacting. I happened to see a story about Canine Partners because of something like this. I contacted them, and the bottom line is I've had 3 service dogs that changed my life. Before this, with my epilepsy, I stayed at home and epilepsy controlled my life. I'm independent now. So we're trying to change people's lives at the same time, congratulate these amazing dogs and the organizations out there.
And what a great story for you, because I don't think of you as handicapped or invalid any way at all. You're just
Right.
a regular old guy that goes everywhere and does everything.
And a lot of people come up to me and they ask me, hey, could you please tell me what you're doing? Are you actually just training the dog? And I explain to them, I'm not really training a dog. This dog is giving me my independence. And that's what I try and tell people that assistance dogs do, is they return somebody's independence. And that is so amazing and changes people's lives that it's worth the effort. Probably the biggest problem that I hear out there now is the wait time. From finding the right organization to being matched with a dog can take years. It took me 2.5, 3 years before I was matched with my first dog. But as I look back now, over the past 18 years that I've had 3 dogs, every minute of it was worthwhile. So if you're determined to do it, stay in the equation and it will work out for you.
Very good. Now, I want to take a minute. We talked about this in the very beginning. This is last Sunday's Fresno Bee, the editorial section, and the Bee sought and thought it was important enough, and so did Mayor Dyer, thought it was important enough to recognize this week, and the Bee let you write a whole long op-ed in there. And there's a great picture. If you guys have the Bee from last Sunday, it's opinion section, and tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I wanted to locally here write a story. I wrote my story about International Assistance Dog Week, how it affects me, it affects the people locally here, and I wrote a story out about it. And then to get it written, I called, I submitted it a couple of times, and then I said to myself, let me try and contact the editor. And I contacted the editor via phone a number of times, and then all of a sudden I got a call back from the editor. And I explained the situation along the line, and I'm grateful that he called me back, and I explained how important it was, how being matched with an assistance dog could change somebody's life. And if this article meant to change for one person, it would be worth it. And that's what my goal is. If I could change one person's life, somebody changed my life, if I could help change it for one person, it would be worth it. And that's why I wrote that story.
Well, you got to come on Central Valley Talk. You got to go to City Hall and meet with the mayor and talk about it and get him to make it a week of...
Met with the mayor of Fresno and the mayor and the city council in Clovis.
Nice. And then the article in the Bee got a lot of attention. A couple of quick questions. Maybe silly, maybe not, but we don't know about this stuff. This is our week to find out.
Sure.
Is the dog happy?
Yeah, the dog, these dogs, like most dogs, want to be out doing things. They're happy. Every time he does something for me, he's rewarded. He's rewarded for everything he does. And it gets to a point where even when he's not working and he's not harnessed and he's home, he automatically does things. And what people may not even understand is the number of tasks. Zern does probably 40 tasks for me. He loads the laundry into the washer machine. He answers when the doorbell rings. He goes over and is able to answer. He opens doors for me. I've got ropes on doors to pull open. He does this so frequently in my day-to-day life, which makes life easier for me, that he wants to do it because he considers that happy for himself. He wants to be
Making
able to
you
do
happy
things.
makes him happy.
Right.
Nice.
And every day when the harness is off, we go out in the fenced-in yard and there's playtime.
Oh.
There's plenty of playtime where he loves going after the ball or going after the stick or those types of things. So playtime is there. And I have my sister has a pet in a connected house, and the pet named Maddie is interchanging with Zern on a regular basis. So Zern leads a happy,
Good.
enjoyable life.
And I don't know if we could see him again, but he has boots on. I see these dogs walking around. It's hot out there. This is, I think, one of the hottest years I remember.
This is a very hot year.
There's his boot on.
Out on the streets and on the sidewalks. You know, we have during this time of year 100+ weather, and dogs can easily burn their paws.
And not all surfaces are the same temperature.
They're not. And I the way I work is I have this and another pair of them. The one good thing about living out here is we cool down 30 degrees or more at night.
Yeah.
So in the morning, I'm up early. It's beautiful to walk outside without them. But when the temperatures are up, the boots go on automatically. Just as putting the harness on or putting the leash on, these go on because there's no way we're going to risk his paws at all. Yeah.
One last question is he a pet? Should people come up and pet him and get between you and him?
No, and I even have a sign on the harness that says "Service dog, do not pet."
Yeah.
While the harness is on, he's working.
Right. And I didn't mean to ask it about Zern especially, but all service dogs, when people see them.
When people see them, they're working with the individual. You know, there's a neighbor here in the region, a gal that I know, Tony Ames, who is blind and has had 6 seeing eye dogs over her lifetime. She's a wonderful, wonderful lady. When she's out, again, it's the same thing. She even relies more, if you can picture a seeing eye dog, she relies on every step that dog takes. You know, you can't risk trying to pet the dog or distract the dog. Well, we can't distract the dog here. If all of a sudden he has to give me a warning of an oncoming seizure, the difference is when I come home, when there are times it's going to be playtime and we're outside, then things can be a little bit different. Yeah.
So one of the messages is they're not a pet. They're not a pet. They're doing
working.
a job. They're at work, and don't bother them when they're at work. So what about people who see somebody with a service dog? Everybody wants to go up and ask questions.
I have people come up to me all the time. That's not a problem at all. I'm happy to answer questions. What I normally do is give somebody my email address and say, if you have a matter of fact, I had it happen within the past week 3 or 4 times where somebody said, hey, listen, I know somebody was one day and the other was I have a family member, and I said, I need you to do me a favor, here's my email address. I have a bad memory because of my epilepsy. Explain that you saw me today and ask the question what information you need, and I'll respond with the information you're looking for. And I'll be happy to go back and forth until you've got everything you need.
Very good. Well, we are out of time, Ed. Ed comes here all the time and talks to us about this, so we appreciate that. I just want to give you a couple minutes to do a summary or send a message to the people.
Well, again, I'm here because it's International Assistance Dog Week. It's my opportunity as a recipient of an assistance dog, somebody who is benefited. It's changed my life, and I'm grateful to my partners, not only Zern, but my previous partner was Alipo, and my first partner was Charity. And I'm grateful to Canine Partners for Life, who has partnered me with these 3 amazing dogs. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that organization. So I say thank you, and I send my best wishes, and so does Zern. And anybody out there looking for a dog, I would recommend looking online at the International Association of Assistance Dog Partners. If you're looking for a dog, again, that's the International Association of Assistance Dog Partners. And if you have a question, again, don't hesitate emailing me. That's Edward F. Crane 57@AOL.com. If I can answer a question, I'd be happy to. But these dogs can make a difference in your life.
Very
and
good.
I say, happy International Assistance Dog Week.
Yeah. And if you're watching, you didn't get Ed's number down or his email, call us here at Central Valley Talk. We'll plug you in with him. And we appreciate you coming again, Ed.
It's an honor and a privilege.
And you're watching NewsMakers with Mike Briggs live from our Tower District studios here. Stay tuned because up next is congressional candidate David Giglio. We'll be back right after this.